Are you scared to board a plane? Are you scared of snakes? Well, this is the movie that could very much do the job for you. Also, the movie teaches you that if you stay calm, you can survive even the worst of circumstances. Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we'll be going through the 2006 action thriller film Snakes on a Plane. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we see a boy riding a bike. He very skillfully lands in the forest and spots his wounded father, who has been hung upside down. As the father spots his son, he asks him to get out of there right away. The boy hides in the bushes, and a man named Eddie Kim appears in a white suit and beats his father up with a baseball bat. The boy gets out of there on his bike, and upon arriving home, he sits traumatized as the news reporter announces the death of his father on TV. He then has a knock at his door and he looks through the peephole. He sees Eddie's men out there, and they are there to kill the boy. He tries to run through the back door, where he runs into a big black man who forces him to go behind the wall as he deals with the killers. As the man escapes with the boy in his car, he introduces himself as an FBI agent named Flynn. The boy goes on to introduce himself as Sean Jones, and the agent asks him the reason behind him not going to the police after witnessing his father being murdered. The agent then takes him to the inquiry room and asks him a lot of questions, making it abundantly clear that it will not go well for him if he does not cooperate. The next thing we know, Sean Jones is to be escorted by FBI agents Neville Flynn and John Sanders on a Boeing 747-400 to testify in a trial against Kim in Los Angeles. We then see two beautiful girls going to the airport, and they are flight attendants. On the other hand, three famous artists can be seen giving autographs to their fans at the airport, and then they make their way towards the boarding terminal. There are different kinds of people boarding the place. There are kids, there is a businessman who seems to do nothing but complain about the things on the plane to Claire, a flight attendant, and then there is Mr. 3Gs and his two bodyguards, and of course, Sean Jones. As the plane is about to take off, the flight attendant goes to demonstrate some safety measures in case of an emergency. The plane takes off and a flight attendant named Tiffany comes to Sean and starts talking to him, and they basically bitch about Eddie Kim. Then we see a timer that has been hidden in the luggage. There are deadly snakes in there. Claire and Grace clear out the dishes, and Claire talks about how she is going to miss doing all this as it is her last day being a flight attendant. The timer shows less than 3 minutes before the chaos begins. Sean starts talking to Flynn and talks about his plans to visit Bali before his father got killed. Flynn carries on the conversation and goes on to add that he has been there and that he likes the place. As Flynn walks around the plane, he comes across Claire. He jokes with her and continues walking around like he owns the place. The timer shows 0 seconds left and it starts. The explosion sets the snakes free. They are in big numbers. A woman shouts as she spots one, and a minor turbulence forces Claire to go and make sure everything is all right. The crate opens midway through the flight and the snakes make their way through the cabin, with a viper attacking an electric panel in the process, thus shutting down the power. A couple having sex in a bathroom and a man using another bathroom are the first people killed. The captain tells Claire that they lost the board. He says he is going to go fix it, but the co-pilot says that it is all right. He goes to take a look anyway, and as he moves closer, he gets attacked by a snake that plunges at his neck. The captain shouts and goes unconscious on the ground. Claire gets Rick to check on the captain, and he says that he might have had a heart attack. Claire comes running towards Agent Flynn and tells him that the captain is dead. Flynn suggests that they get back to the airport, but they are far enough and decide that they are going to keep moving toward LA. The turbulence goes on, and the passengers start to panic. Claire checks up on the two little boys and suggests a fun game. As the snakes start to spread and get close to Rick, he tries to scare them away with a piece of paper. Seriously, who let this guy aboard an airplane? A piece of paper to scare away giant snakes? The oxygen masks then fall down, and the situation becomes more chaotic. The bad news, with oxygen masks, there come snakes, deadly snakes that start to attack the passengers. Passengers scream as the snakes bite them. A man comes out of the first class to see what's going on, and, well, it turns out to be a bad idea as he cries when he sees snakes coming at him. A girl takes out a barf bag and she is shocked when a snake comes out of it and right away goes to her throat, killing her right away. Passengers can now be seen running here and there, but they cannot, of course, escape. How could they? The snakes keep biting and killing them. Flynn comes across a man named Sanders, and he grabs the snakes and starts to fling them as the fat man tells him that he has ophidiophobia, which is the fear of snakes. Well, what a place to be in, Sanders. Passengers start to get badly injured or dead as the snakes fall through the compartments. Flynn has a taser in hand to fight off the snakes. He then asks everyone to carefully move forward, but everyone wants to get out of there as soon as possible, and they start to push one another to get to the front, and as a result, the situation becomes even more chaotic as they start to fight each other. People on the plane are willing to go to any lengths to save themselves from the snakes. One of them even goes ahead and shoves a snake into the microwave and satisfactorily looks on as the creature explodes. Flynn, who has been trying to knock some sense into the people, comes up with a plan to deal with the chaotic situation. Flynn goes on to suggest that everyone should build a barrier between themselves and the snakes, and that seems to be the only way they can get away from the snakes and defend themselves. As everyone gets their luggage to build a strong wall, Claire looks for two little boys named Tommy and Curtis. She and Flynn finally find them, and poor little Timmy is already bitten. Siblings are in a state of terror. Then we see a little baby who seems to be the one having fun out there, but a snake closes in on him, and Grace spots it and comes to the little kid's rescue. While she picks up the baby to get him out of there, she herself gets bitten. Flynn, on the other hand, tries his best to save Sandler's life, but it goes in vain. Flynn then calls Harris to inform him about the death of Sandler, and Harris says that he is going to send a backup and rescue team to LA. He also asks for the best person who can figure out how deadly all of these snakes are. A woman sucks the venom out of Tommy's hand. Sean, on the other hand, gets up, and as he starts to walk around, Flynn tells him not to move and to stay where he is. He says that he has to keep himself safe as these are the orders given to him. They have managed to build up a luggage wall, and Agent Flynn starts to shoot them with a fire extinguisher. We then see a scientist named Dr. Price who offers to help them with the snakes. The doctor is connected to Flynn on the phone, and he asks him a few questions. Prince tells him that the snakes never attack unless they are provoked to do so. Flynn then mentions the lease filled on the aircraft, and the doctor tells him that the snakes have been triggered and they must have been sprayed on with pheromone. The doctor then goes on to bore Flynn with different kinds of reactions to the snake bites, but Flynn has no time for that and says he is going to look for some dead snakes and start working on the anti-venoms. Passengers downstairs now start to get extremely frustrated and angry. The agent gets there, and they rain down a bunch of questions on him as they want to go to the first class where they think they are going to be safe and away from the snakes. Rick is attacked and the plane starts to dip downward, causing a food trolley to crash through the luggage blockade. As the snakes start to get close to everyone, Sean tells them to go upstairs where they are going to be safe. As they go upstairs, more people are attacked on the way, and one of the biggest snakes falls down and right away goes to attack the businessman who was whining earlier. The passengers flee to the upstairs first-class cabin before blocking the stairwell with an inflatable life raft. Flynn and flight attendant Claire regain control of the plane as he shouts at everyone to sit down and buckle up. Flynn then tells everyone to take control of the aircraft, and they pull on the steering wheel with all their might and they halt the crash. While Rick retakes the controls and has Flynn go into the cargo hold to restore the air conditioning. Now they have a new barrier against the snakes in the form of a life rack. Pictures of different snakes are then sent to the doctor, and he explains to Harris that these snakes are from all over the world, and that makes it hard for them to acquire an anti-venom. The air conditioning and the engine are failing on the plane because of all the chaos that has been going on. There are still a lot of snakes alive on the plane, and some of them are monstrous. Things seem to get worse for Flynn when Rick explains that he is going to have to manually fix the air conditioner and that there is no other way to do that. Now the snakes seem to be the second priority as everyone starts to complain about the heat as they are sweating through their backs. The rapper seems like someone who cannot bear a little heat, and he loses his patience and takes Flynn's gun from him and goes to point it at him. His bodyguard, however, asks him to take it easy, and Mr. 3G's finally gets settled. Cher sits on Grace's side, whose condition is really bad, and she starts to cry as she sees Grace dying. Flynn, on the other hand, goes down to the electrical panel to take a look at what is wrong with the AC. As he gets there, he sees that the lever is stuck, and as he fixes it, a bunch of snakes are ready to attack him. He, however, has a flamethrower and manages to fend off the snakes using that. He kills them and starts to work on the lever. Harris, on the other hand, is adamant to find out who has the access to all these snakes. After a shootout, a tactical interrogation occurs wherein the dealer is injured by a snake bite. With Harris holding the anti-venom, the dealer finally reveals that Kim hired him to obtain the snakes and adds how the latter managed to smuggle them on board the plane and make them aggressive. Price injects the injured dealer with the anti-venom and commandeers his supply of anti-venom for the victims on the plane based on the list given to him, while Harris gives orders to have Eddie Kim arrested and tried for death on multiple counts of murder and attempted murder. He then contacts Flynn and explains everything that he has found so far. He tells Flynn that the anti-venom is ready and it is going to be at their disposal when they land in LA. Flynn goes to share the news with everyone, and when he opens up the cockpit to share the news with Rick, they find him dead with the snakes feeding on him. Claire then asks around if any of them knows how to fly a plane, and a boy named Troy volunteers, but the cockpit is filled with snakes. After a brief discussion, Troy, 3G's bodyguard, agrees to land the plane based on experience playing a flight simulator. After everyone gets prepared, Flynn shoots out 2 windows with his pistol, causing the plane to depressurize. The snakes are blown out of the cockpit and the lower floor of the plane as everyone holds on for dear life. Despite his lack of real-world experience, Troy makes an emergency landing and the plane makes it to the terminal. The police and the ambulance are quick to get there and they help out the passengers safely. Dr. Price gets there with the antivenom and starts to treat the injured ones. Flynn goes to Sean and thanks him for his help and for staying alive, but he is attacked by a snake and Flynn shoots him, killing the snake. Everyone runs to Sean's rescue, but he is safe because he was wearing a bulletproof jacket. Sean later takes Flynn to Bali and teaches him how to surf. Well, he had his dream vacation, and this is where the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.